A wax figure is a depiction made using wax, and oftentimes these are effigies of notable individuals and historical figures. The history of wax figures dates back to ancient Egypt. In the 18th century, there was a famous French artist named Marie Tussaud known for her wax sculptures. She founded her wax museum named Madame Tussaud in London, England in 1835. Madame Tussaud is the most famous and recognized wax museum in the world for its celebrity likenesses, and they have since opened numerous locations across the world. The museums have become a major tourist attraction in every city, and tourists know exactly where to go to see identical replicas of their favorite celebrities. In modern times, a lot of celebrities are directly involved in the process of making their own wax figure, like doing measurements and approving the final product, which is why the replicas look so identical to the person. However, Madame Tussauds is also very famous for failing to accurately depict a lot of public figures or failing to replicate their most recognizable features. In no particular order, here are some of the worst wax figures ever made of Black celebrities. Actor and comedian Whoopi Goldberg has a career in show business that expands across 5 decades. Throughout the course of her career, she garnered numerous accolades, including an Oscar for her role in the 1990 film Ghost, 2 Emmy Awards, and 2 Golden Globe Awards. Whoopi is also one of the few people in Hollywood to achieve the EGOT, so it's only right that she's commemorated with her very own wax figure, right? Well, she's actually had quite a few wax figures put on display over the decades, and almost all of them have been pretty spot on when it came to accurately capturing her features. But there's one that was created that's kinda offensive and just wrong for so many reasons. In May 2009, the Hollywood Wax Museum auctioned off a batch of over 200 life-size wax figures, and a skinny replica of Whoopi was one of them. A lot, if not most, of their wax figures were pretty bad. Also a part of this auction was one of professional golfer Tiger Woods. Now, I originally wasn't going to add him to this list, but after seeing some of his wax figures, I just had to. The one up for auction made his body look super awkward, and then there's this one created by the famous Madame Tussauds that looks like him, but also doesn't really look like him. There's also this one that was unveiled at the Guidu Century Plaza on December 24, 2014 in Taiyuan, China that looks a bit odd. But those don't compare to Louis Tussauds' waxworks versions of Tiger Woods. If you're curious about the relation between Louis Tussaud and Maria Tussaud, Louis was her great-grandson who worked as one of her sculptors at her museum, and he eventually went on to open his own museums called Waxworks. You can usually find some of his wax figures at the Ripley's Believe It or Not museums. His museums are in no way connected to Madame Tussauds. The one on display at the museum in Thailand makes him look 100% Asian, and the one displayed at the Niagara Falls location just looks very strange. But we'll talk a little bit more about Louis Tussauds' creations later. Next on this list, we have Bayesian pop star Rihanna. By her third album, the singer had already reached legendary status with her 7-time platinum selling single, Umbrella. So you know Madame Tussaud ran to make a wax version of her. The figure first went on display in September 2010 at the museum in Washington, D.C., and it depicted her rated R album era. This replica is so identical to Rihanna herself and is one of the best ones the museum has ever created. They continued to restyle the statue as her career progressed and looks evolved, but after a while, the sculptors and designers started getting lazy. Things started going south in 2015 when the Orlando location debuted their own Rihanna statue, which looked a bit off. There's also one that was unveiled at the newly opened Madame Tussauds in Dubai on October 18, 2021. That's not bad, but it could also use some work. Then in December 2021, Rihanna's wax figure at the Madame Tussauds Museum in Berlin, Germany got a new look for Christmas, and this generated a negative response from fans. The facial features were kinda off and the wig choice was just lazy. Turns out, the creators just dressed her in a recycled outfit they used on an old version they had on display. I also stumbled across this wax statue of Rihanna for sale on Alibaba.com. I'm not even going to give my opinion on this one. I'll just let you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But these aren't the worst wax figures I've seen, so let's get on with the list. In the 2010s decade, multi-platinum selling artist Nicki Minaj was undeniably the matriarch of female rap. In August 2015, the first wax figure of Nicki was unveiled at the Las Vegas Madame Tussauds Museum. It was meant to be a replica of her Anaconda music video, but it featured her in a compromising position on all fours with her butt in the ear like no other wax figure. It also bared no resemblance to the rapper. This led to an influx of tourists taking provocative, sexually suggestive photos with the statue, and this left fans and other people outraged. People questioned the reason behind objectifying a black woman while all the other figures are standing. Fellow female rap artist Azealia Banks called out the museum in tweets that read, "Wow, they really gave Nicki Minaj a wax figure and it's a statue of her bent over on all fours? White people, yo. As much as that woman has accomplished, they had to put her on all fours. Why not standing up with a mic in her hand? All people are gonna do is go up to the statue and take pictures shoving their crotch in her face and putting their crotch on her butt. Martha Stewart's most iconic moment was when she went to jail, but they didn't put her wax figure in a jail uniform. Come on, y'all." In a Twitter statement, Madame Tussauds Las Vegas apologized and said they stepped up security and were working to redesign the set to deter lewd photos from being taken. But it turns out, Nicki actually worked with the museum on the project and signed off on it before it went public. She took to social media to express how much she loves the figure and also found humor in the provocative photos fans were taking. They never actually redesigned the figure, by the way. And that's the end of that. Next on this list, we have legendary black supermodel Naomi Campbell. She had become one of the most recognized and sought-after models in the world by the mid-90s. In 1996, she was presented with her very own waxing. It looked very similar to the model and also wore an imitation of the fall-winter '96 Versace dress she wore on the runway. But over the years, the statues of Naomi Campbell just kept getting worse. Take, for example, this one on display in Bangkok that has blue eyes instead of hazel eyes and a few facial features that don't really match Naomi's. Since the early 2000s, she has been immortalized in wax in the fashion section at the Musée Gravon in Paris, France. Not too bad, right? Well, this version of Naomi may be the worst of them all for so many reasons. Aside from the dirty armpits, they gave her a long masculine neck and her face is just terrifying. They've had this one on display for over 15 years and just keep restyling it despite it constantly being mocked online. You know, although it's pretty hilarious and we all got a good little laugh out of that wax figure, it's also very upsetting at the same time when you sit and think about how often dark-skinned women are masculinized by the media and the real world. But believe it or not, there are way worse wax figures than this one, so let's continue with the list. International superstar and entertainer Beyoncé has constantly changed the direction of music and entertainment since breaking out in the late 90s. At just 23 years young, London's Madame Tussauds reached out to the singer to work on her very first wax likeness. Once unveiled, the statue was dressed in a copy of the orange and pink Versace dress she wore in her Crazy in Love music video. The wig is bad and some of the facial features were off, but it's not terrible and Beyoncé did approve of it before it went on display.
Hello, I'm Beyoncé. Welcome to my behind-the-scenes guide to making of my wax figure. When the guys of Madame Tussauds asked me if I'd like to be immortalized in wax, I was very excited. So how did they do it? Well, first we have to do a sitting. A team of sculptors flew over from Tussauds Studios in London to North Carolina. Got the pose sorted out pretty quickly, and then it was time to be measured. The sculptors worked fast. I could tell they had done this zillions of times before. They used calipers to make most of my measurements, like the distance from the tip of my chin to the top of my cheekbone. and from the base of my neck to my tragus. That's the place next to my ear, by the way. So while Jim sculpted my head, Jenny worked on my body. Thanks, guys. You did a great job. Next thing that happens is the eyes and teeth are fitted, and then it's off for hair insertion. You know these guys insert all the hairs one by one into the wax heads? Wow, now that's patience. Then they cut and style the hair so it looks perfect. And then, every girl's favorite part, it's time for makeup. Once the fiberglass body has been colored, it's time to put all the parts together and dress and accessorize the figure. So there you have it, the whole process, from start to finish. It took about 3 months.
After that, her career just continued to ascend and eventually reached legendary status. Unfortunately, the wax figures of her did the complete opposite, and some were just downright disrespectful for their lack of accuracy. Most of them had bad wigs, white features, and pale skin. Like this one seen in Poland where her body is white except for from her chest on up. Or this version of her, also in Poland, with this ridiculous wig. Or this one at the Midtown Manhattan location of Madame Tussauds. Fans of Beyoncé took to social media to express their outrage for her looking white. In an emailed statement, Madame Tussauds New York said, "Our talented team of sculptors take every effort to ensure we accurately color match all of our wax figures to the celebrity being depicted. Lighting within the attraction combined with flash photography may distort and misrepresent the color of our wax figures, which is something our sculptors are unable to account for at the production stage. We love, respect, and enjoy a working relationship with Beyoncé." They temporarily removed it from display to make adjustments, but once it returned, she still looked white. But none of the figures previously shown can compare to the ugly statue of her at Louis Tussauds Niagara Falls Museum. I'll just let you guys voice your own opinions on this one in the comments. Now let's get into the final person on this list. Michael Jackson needs no introduction. The king of pop amassed success and superstardom like no one ever has, and still remains the best-selling American singer, songwriter, and dancer. So a wax figure for the biggest superstar in the world was inevitable. And you would think Michael Jackson would be given the best statues, right? One of his earliest wax figures was unveiled in 1985 by Madame Tussauds Museum in London, and Michael looked thrilled to see himself immortalized. Over the decades, there have been hundreds of wax figures made of Michael, and a lot of them did a good job accurately replicating his unique and frequently changing features, like this one from the Movieland Wax Museum, or this one in China, or this one in Amsterdam. But the vast majority of Michael Jackson's statues just look crazy. Take, for example, this one seen at the Fisherman's Wharf Wax Museum, or these two monstrosities from Louis Tussauds Waxworks, or this one from that same Hollywood Museum auction I mentioned earlier in this video, or this one in Madrid, Spain. And if you're confused, the one on the left is the actual wax figure. And then there's these three that were actually owned by Michael Jackson himself at his Neverland Ranch, which were auctioned off along with thousands of other items he owned just a few months before his death. We all know Michael was a little different, so we're not gonna judge. There are so many terrible wax figures of Michael Jackson, so I'm just gonna leave these photos here and let you guys form your own opinions. Please let me know which of these wax figures is the worst to you in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to Black Femininity TV for more content.